As much as some horror movies may simply be surface level, what you see is what you get entertainment, there are certainly those which strive to offer up something more, rewarding those who keep their eyes peeled for every painstaking detail. And then there are the films which, instead of offering up cute Easter egg in-jokes and secret payoffs, decide to start making blatant fun of those paying perhaps a little too much attention to what they're watching. These movies all hide devilish visual gags in plain sight, yet the filmmakers also clearly took a perverse amount of joy in ribbing those obsessively keen-eyed enough to actually spot them. Filmmakers, what are they like, eh? I am the perceptive Ash from What Culture Horror, and these are 10 horror movies that mock you for paying attention. 10. The Changing Photograph, Poltergeist. Those who decide to scan around the screen during Poltergeist's terrifying climax just might stumble upon a subtle troll courtesy of director Tobe Hooper. When Diane is blow-drying her hair, pictures of herself and her family are plainly visible on her dresser. But after her son Robbie is attacked by the clown doll and we cut back to Diane being flung around her room, the picture of her daughter, Carol Ann, has been creepily replaced. Some fans have claimed the new framed picture is that of a demonic entity, and to be fair, it would make sense. Either way, it is a playful yet creepy sleight of hand which has a little fun with audiences whose attention clearly isn't pointed where it actually should be. 9. The Dharma Logo, Cloverfield. If there is anything that J.J. Abrams loves more than a mystery, it is messing around with clues which ultimately end up going nowhere. And as the producer of found-footage sci-fi horror film Cloverfield, Abrams decided to have some fun at the expense of eager fans who were sure to pore over every last frame of the movie looking for mythological hints. Well, he didn't make them wait long, as right at the start of the movie, a US Department of Defense test card flashes on the screen, and in the bottom right corner, you can see the distinctive octagonal logo for the Dharma Initiative from Abrams' hit TV show Lost. This discovery immediately prompted eager fans to consider the possibility of the movie or future sequels tying directly into Lost, and that the emergence of Cloverfield's monster was in some way related to Lost's oceanic flight. But over a decade later, nothing tangible has ever come from this link, and so it's clear that Abrams was just leading his own insatiable fanbase on a merry chase in circles. Fair enough. 8. Wes Craven's totally ridiculous cameo, Scream. Wes Craven's Scream ushered in a new era of self-aware, trope-savvy slasher films, but also smartly operated as a genuinely suspenseful and well-crafted horror film no matter your own genre literacy. But there is one gag in the film, which, for anyone in the know, is so outrageously on the nose as to pull them out of the movie entirely. Of course, I'm talking about Craven's cameo appearance as the janitor at Woodsboro High School. In addition to being named Fred, Craven's character also wears a striped jumper similar to that of Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street, a movie Craven also wrote and directed. It is an Easter egg so hilariously obvious that it basically derails the horror fan's suspension of disbelief, practically begging them not to break out into hysterical laughter at the sheer ballsy daring of it. God bless that man. 7. Panasonic Panic, Insidious Chapter 2. The second Insidious might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it does boast one inspired sight gag which sees director James Wan sticking out his tongue at his most keen-eyed fans. About 25 minutes into the film, paranormal investigators Specs and Tucker view a 1986 VHS tape of a young Josh. But as the tape is inserted into the VCR, it is clear that the VCR's Panasonic logo has had a number of letters selectively erased with a marker. In Hollywood, this term is typically known as greeking, whereby a production erases or obscures a company's logo if they haven't been able to obtain clearances to use said logo. But beyond that, Wan decided to have some fun by scrubbing out some very specific letters indeed, ensuring that the 5 remaining letters read the word panic. Considering that the resulting VHS footage gives Specs and Tucker a good reason to panic, to say nothing of the audience, it is quite the apt foreshadowing, really. 6. The evidence locker teases a horror icon battle royale, Bride of Chucky. There's a time-honoured tradition of classic horror franchises paying homage to one another by teasing the possibility that these characters exist within the same twisted universe and could even cross paths one day, and Bride of Chucky takes this to the next level. As a police officer heads to an evidence locker to retrieve the Chucky doll, we're given brief glimpses of paraphernalia belonging to the genre's most iconic characters: Michael Myers and Jason's masks, Freddy's glove, and even Leatherface's chainsaw. While this led many excited fans to ponder the horror icon battle royale which could be on the horizon, it sadly never materialised. This was likely because, upon closer inspection, the props were all clearly copyright-dodging knockoffs, and it's unlikely any substantial legal clearances were obtained for their inclusion. In a cute outcome though, Bride of Chucky director Ronnie Yu did in fact go on to helm Freddy vs Jason 5 years later, so it did get levelled up to more than just a bit of fun. 5. All the theories. The Shining. There are few films more enthusiastically analysed or overanalyzed than The Shining, a film which many critics nevertheless agree is teeming with subconscious imagery far beyond its core premise. Documentary Room 237 runs down most of the major theories, such as the film being Kubrick's subtle confession for helping fake the moon landings, or that he digs into the history of Native Americans. Much has also been written about the film's apparently intentional continuity errors, such as the direction of the hotel's distinctive carpet changing orientation when Danny sits on it, or the overall geometry of the Overlook Hotel making no logistical sense whatsoever. Then there are those that believe that Kubrick even embedded a snub towards author Stephen King and fans of his book, by not only changing the colour of Torrance's VW Beetle from red to yellow, but by also showing a red Beetle wrecked, as if symbolically trashing King's vision of the story. As interesting as all of these theories are, the fact that Kubrick isn't here to pass comment on any of it, if he would even bother to, that is, makes it a never-ending agony for fans. An unanswerable riddle which will both intoxicate and torment audiences for as long as cinema exists. 4. The opening painting spells out the entire plot. Midsommar. If Ari Aster's devastating directorial debut Hereditary proved anything, it's that he wants the audience to pay close attention, and his follow-up Midsommar continued to cement that fact in a deeply twisted way. An epic, densely layered folk horror film, Midsommar actually unfurls the broad strokes of its plot in its opening shot for attentive viewers, by way of a gorgeously disturbing mural which appears on screen for around 20 seconds. The mural depicts the deaths of protagonist Dani's family, her grief as she struggles to cope, her boyfriend's Swedish friend acting as the Pied Piper that lures them to paradise, and several of the rituals invoked throughout the film. Perhaps the most telling is the creepy smile on the face of the son, which ultimately looks incredibly similar to Dani's deranged smile in the final shot of the movie. 3. There's a literal Easter egg, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. There have been Easter egg hunters for as long as film itself has been around, though the Rocky Horror Picture Show takes a hilariously literal approach to giving them something to find. During production, the crew had an on-set Easter egg hunt, but not all of the eggs were in fact found, and so several of them managed to accidentally sneak their way into the movie. One can be seen underneath Dr. Frankenfurter's throne, and reportedly 2 more are visible during the film, one in the castle's main room in place of a light fixture, and another as the group takes the elevator up to Frank's lab. If nothing else, it certainly takes a cinematic Easter egg hunt to a whole new level of obsessive absurdity, and fits the movie's bewildering yet endearing tone like a glove. 2. The Xenomorph Skull, Predator 2. There's one sequence in Predator 2 which sure as hell got fans talking. In the Predator's trophy room, the skull of a xenomorph from Alien can briefly be seen, immediately throwing fans into a tailspin as they speculated on the possibility of an impending Alien vs Predator movie. After all, the first Alien vs Predator comics had hit stores just the year before Predator 2 was released, so many fans bought into the Easter egg as a legitimate nod towards a coming attraction. Though Fox did genuinely try to get the movie made after Predator 2, production stalled for numerous reasons, causing most fans to give up hope, assuming they'd been duped with a throwaway Easter egg. This is more fitting of a past tense movies that mocked you for paying attention though, as of course AVP did finally come out over 10 years later. But given that it was a goofy, PG-13 rated mess, many fans ultimately wish the seed had never been planted in the first place. Heathens, I say. 1. Jigsaw's sketch confession spoils the twist. Saw. Much like Midsommar, the very first Saw offers up a spoilerific moment early on for those paying extremely close attention. Though the film's epic twist ending reveals that the Jigsaw killer was in fact one of Dr. Gordon's terminally ill patients all along, John Kramer, this fact is basically spelled out for anyone looking in the right corner of the screen early on. In an early flashback, we actually see Gordon doing rounds at the hospital and briefly observing Kramer at his bedside, where on Kramer's desk he has sketched what is very clearly the reverse bear trap Amanda is shown strapped into a few scenes later. Basically, if you are eagle-eyed enough to catch this, you're probably going to know what's up when Amanda shows up in the trap a few minutes later. And of course, it makes for excellent rewatching finding this little tidbit on another go around the movie. And that's our list. What other horror movies belong on this list? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. I've been Ash over on social media at Ash Millman, and this has been What Culture. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back again soon for some more spine-tingling horror content. Thanks for watching.